welcome to my channel. In today's video, I am super excited to share with all of you a haul and first impressions of products that I picked up in my latest trip to Japan. So I picked up a bunch of different makeup products, a few Fude brushes, some skincare products, and I've actually had these just sitting around for the past few weeks as I've been trying to find some time to film, and so I am super excited to try these with you guys today. So to start things off, let me just run through what I bought. So I have a bunch of bags. I've kind of consolidated them all into this one big bag, but let me go through these. Most of these I bought from a Japanese department store in Ginza, which is called Mitsukoshi. That is my favorite department store in Japan. They have Hakuhodo makeup brushes, they have all the luxury beauty brands, they have a duty-free section, so I spent a lot of time there, but I did also pick up some products from some other places as well. But let's just go through this. So first off, I picked up a ton of products from Kokutan. Basically, if you guys aren't familiar with Kokutan, it is a pretty popular Japanese luxury makeup brand started by a former actress in the Japanese film industry who wanted to put together makeup products that would really last in the filming environment while looking natural and while being good for your skin. And so I've really loved this brand for a while. In fact, the reason I decided to pick up so many items from them is that my current favorite foundation and powder come from them. And that's pretty impressive because those are the only two products I've tried from their line, but they've risen to be my #1 in those categories. And Kokutan is a brand you can buy in the United States. They are available on some retailers like Beautylish. For a while, Sephora carried them as well. Not totally sure if they still do, but it is much more affordable in Japan. So in general, the prices are lower. And then right now with the exchange rate and also with duty free, basically buying in Japan was like a 50 or more % discount. And so that's why I kind of went a little bit crazy and picked up basically one of every one of their products. So first, their loose powder is currently my all-time favorite powder, but I've been really appreciating pressed powders this year. So I picked up their pressed powder, which comes in two separate components. So you have the refillable packaging, and then you have the pressed powder itself. I also picked up the moisture foundation in the shade 123. The Aqua foundation is currently my favorite foundation, and so I was really curious to try out this formulation, which is a bit more hydrating. And 123 is the same shade that I have in the Aqua foundation. I also picked up their lip gloss. I have this in the shade Red Berry. This is a pretty high pigment lip gloss from what I could tell in the store. And then I have their concealer compact. So this is their moisture concealer. It comes with a few different concealers. And don't worry, I will open all of these and show you guys the inside packaging as well as I'm doing the demos. I picked up their lipstick as well. This is sort of a sheer lipstick. I got this in the soft red shade. Then I picked up their liquid concealer and I got this in sort of the peachy shade. They only had 2 shade options. And then finally I picked up their eyebrow pencil in brown. So this is literally like pretty much all of their line. I think there's maybe a few other products you can buy from them online, but I'm very excited that now I can basically do pretty much a full face. They're not really a brand that has a lot of color products, but complexion is, I think, where they really shine. In addition to those makeup products, though, I also picked up a lot of their cleansing spa water. So I picked up this giant container here. This is basically my all-time favorite makeup remover. So you can see this is a pretty hefty bottle. It has this nice component at the top where you can just press down with your cotton pads and get the product nice and cleanly. What I love about this product is that I find with a lot of makeup removers, they tend to sting my eyes, and I have quite sensitive eyes. But this is by far the best product for really removing 100% of your waterproof products, including in the eye area, with absolutely no stinging. Like, I can even put this just directly on my waterline on a Q-tip and it doesn't sting at all. So I'm really impressed with this product. It's super, super gentle, but also is very effective at removing makeup, but doesn't leave your skin feeling stripped. So I was very excited to pick this up because it's quite pricey to buy this in the US. You definitely can, but it was so much more affordable in Japan. And I love that product so much that I actually also bought 3 packages of the cleansing cloth version. So these basically come in pre-hydrated cloths, really great for travel. Basically every time I travel, I love packing these because they of course don't count towards any liquid allowance. And with one of the cloths, I can just completely remove a full face of makeup with no residue. And so I really, really enjoy these. These are an essential for me when it comes to traveling. So that's all in terms of Kokutan products. I also picked up another melting powder blush from Suqqu. If you guys watched my best of 2023 video, you know that the Suqqu melting powder blush quickly rose to be my #1 powder blush formula in the past year. And this is not a new formula. In fact, it's been discontinued, which is really sad. So that's why I had to really hunt this down. I went to a lot of different department stores, and finally I found one where they just had some old products, I guess. But I'm really excited about this because I absolutely love this formula, and I'm really glad that I can have an additional shade of this in my collection. Oh, and actually before we move on from Kokutan, I forgot there were some little freebies I got since I bought so much stuff from them. So they also gave me this. This is just a little version of their cleansing spa water and a few of their organic cotton pads. And then they also gave me this. I guess, not really sure if this is like a cloth or scarf sort of thing. Oh wait, actually this is a tote bag. Okay, that's cute, interesting. Huh, all right, so yeah, I guess you can put all your stuff in this. Actually, this is a pretty sizable tote bag and it has little strings that you can tie closed, so all right, that's actually nice. Okay, much more useful than I thought, and this is very compressible as well. So aside from Kokutan, I also wanted to try this brand Lunasol. This is also a very popular luxury makeup brand in Japan, and I was really attracted to their eyeshadow palettes, and so I picked this one up, which is kind of a green-brown color story. I will demo this and the other products in today's video for you guys. In addition, I picked up these brushes from Hakuhodo. So let me open this for you guys here. These were very luxurious. This little bag here of 2 brushes was like $300, so I definitely splurged. But you can see here the 2 beauties that I picked up. So first we have this Hakuhodo S111 brush. This is sort of a flat brush that I think will be really nice for powdering the under eye areas and sort of small areas of the face. This is in the top of the line series from Hakuhodo. It has this beautiful vermilion handle, this little detailing here. And this ferrule actually has 24 karat gold. And this is a blue squirrel brush, so the softest types of hairs. So this was definitely a treat myself moment. I've been wanting a brush that can just really lightly pack in powder around the face. And personally, I'm a fan of smaller powder brushes, so I was pretty excited about this. Also, last time I went to Japan, I picked up the Hakuhodo S138 brush. This has quickly risen to be one of my favorite eye brushes. I love this for under the lash line. And so I wanted to buy something in the same series that had the same bristle type. In addition, I picked up the largest brush in their lineup. This is in sort of their second highest series. So you can tell that the brush handle is a bit different. This one is dark wood. It has more of kind of a traditional Japanese appearance. But I'm a huge sucker for angled face brushes. I love these for powder, contour, pretty much everything around the face. And this is quite a unique shape, very different from anything I have in my collection currently. So I was super excited to try this out. And then the final product I have is this soap from Karuizawa. So that is a town in the mountains that I went to about an hour away from Tokyo. And they're really famous for their cognac jelly products. So that's made out of potato starch. And let me see if I can open this up for you guys. It's super cute. I almost don't want to open it up, but I do kind of want to show you guys the texture of this soap. It's really intriguing. Also cute. So the soap kind of comes in this paper packaging, and actually maybe I won't quite open it up, or I don't know. I guess, oh, it's so cute. I really don't want to open it since if you can see the paper is just so pretty. But I do want to show you guys. So let me just rip this open, and you can see that this is a very unique product. It's like this, it comes in this balloon. You pop it with like a toothpick, and then it's very squishy. So I'm very intrigued by this. This is very different from any sort of soap I have ever used in the past, but it's supposed to be really good for your skin, not stripping at all. And so I'm very intrigued by this. And since it was a local specialty, I really wanted to pick it up. So now let's get into the demo of these products. So first off, let's start with this moisture foundation from Hakohodo. Super excited for this. I was on the fence about this for a little while because it's not the most exciting packaging considering this is luxury makeup, but for the price I got in Japan, it was definitely worth it. So here is what the product looks like, just a little bit of it to start. Now with all of these complexion products, I will say that the shade ranges are quite limited. So that is one downside of buying products from a lot of these East Asian brands. They really are not the best at shade inclusivity, but their formulas are really nice. I will give them that. So I'm just gonna first put this on the right side of my face. This is blending in like a dream. Similar to the Aqua foundation, it just goes on super seamlessly. You can barely see where I applied it. Wow, okay. So you can see on this side of my face, it's looking a lot dewier at this point. Very nice and hydrated looking. I would say the coverage just with this one swipe is maybe light to medium. You can still definitely see my blemishes, but I do think my skin tone looks a little bit more even on this side now. Just gonna squeeze out a similar amount for the other side. And actually I might have done a little bit more on this side, so let's just even this all out. Wow, I do really like how this is looking. I mean, with foundation, I'll definitely need to wear this a lot more times before I can give you guys a full verdict. But I love how this is blending in so easily to the skin. It kind of feels like I'm just applying a moisturizer. It blends in kind of immediately upon contact, but it actually is providing pretty decent coverage. I feel like now that it's on both sides of my face, I can really see the coverage quite a bit. But it looks so natural. It really doesn't look like I have anything on my face, just like another layer of skincare sort of. And my face is super, super dewy now. Well, that is exciting because like I said, I love the Aqua foundation, so I have very high hopes for this one. So next for the powder, so as I mentioned, it comes with the compact separate. So this is what the compact looks like. It's very lightweight. Doesn't necessarily feel super luxurious. You have the button here, you can pop it open like this. It has a nice mirror inside. And then the other container comes with the refillable powder and the powder puff. So I'm just gonna pop this in here now. So interesting, this powder actually has sort of a lavender hue to it. I'm not sure if you guys will be able to see that. Okay, interesting. So it has basically some tacky jelly on the back. That's how it sticks. And then on the front, you can see this is sort of the lavender hue. So I guess I will just stick this in and see what happens. I feel like I need something to sort of press it in a bit more. Maybe I'll actually put this back on and then just kind of lightly push it. I don't want to break the powder for sure. So I'm just gonna kind of tap it a little bit and try to make sure the jelly is sticking. Okay, I think that worked. And then I'm just going to take this out now. Cute little powder puff here. It says Hakohodo on it. And I guess for today's look, I will just use this included puff. So I'm just going to further press the powder into the compact because I really want it to stick. And then just take a little bit of this. Hopefully you can see that slight pinky tone. And just press this on. Oh, and actually I just realized I should have done concealer before this. I got a little ahead of myself, but okay, I'll just powder this half for now, just so we can see it. And wow, it is a pretty light powder. As you can see, it's giving a little bit of a grayish cast on the center of my face where I maybe put a little bit too much of it on. Okay, well, it's definitely mattifying. I'll give it that. You can see that this side of my face looks way more matte than this side at this point. Not really sure how I feel about this color though. The color is definitely slightly purpley, which is kind of neutralizing the yellow in my skin and making it look a little bit gray. So not the biggest fan of that, but let me actually go in with concealer before we jump the gun with all of this. So first off, we have this concealer compact. This is the Moisture Concealer, and this is what it looks like. Isn't that so cute? So it's actually 3 different colors of concealer. So these are different cream formulas, and then it comes with, oh, interesting. I've never seen this sort of thing before. So you can stick out a little brush. Huh, okay. I usually don't like to use these things that are included with the makeup because I prefer my own brushes. So today I'm gonna just go in with my favorite BK Beauty A506 brush. And let's see, so I'm gonna try all 3 of these different shades today. So first, I think this is the one I'm probably going to use the most. This is sort of the medium shade in here. Just get a decent amount of that on my brush and kind of tap it in the under eye area over here. Yeah, I think that's the shade that would work best on my skin tone. I'm curious though about this lighter one. Let me just take a little bit of that and put this on the eye area. Guess this also works for my skin tone. I think these 3 shades are not too dissimilar, so if you have like a similar skin tone to me, I think all 3 of these should work. And then this one looks a little bit deeper, almost like a color corrector. I'll take a little bit of that and dab this around my mouth. It looks kind of deep in pan, but actually I think works on my skin tone. Take a little bit more of that deepest one and put that on this blemish over here. I will say I feel like this brush is not actually picking up a ton of product. Might need something a little bit denser, but it is doing its job, I guess, but you can still see the blemishes a little bit. Let me actually try this with a finger. So for the other side, I'm gonna just take a little bit of this on a finger and dab this on. Another one, put it here. It reminds me of kind of a more emollient version of the Clé de Peau stick concealer. This definitely, it's called Moisture Concealer, and I can see why. It definitely feels quite emollient. It doesn't really feel like you typically expect from kind of stick or cream concealers, being a bit more stiff. Yeah, I'm not quite sure about this product yet. I'm gonna have to play around with it a little bit more. But I do think if you're someone who finds concealers usually to be a little bit on the drying side, this might work quite well for you. Let me actually also turn down the brightness. I feel like you guys can't see the colors super well. So yeah, not sure about this, but let's actually go in with the other concealer. So this is the liquid concealer. This is actually also called Moisture Fit Concealer. So I suppose this should be hydrating as well. Do this under the eye on this side since I already have some concealer on the other eye. They had 2 shades of this. One was more yellowy, one was more peachy. I went with the one that was a little bit more peachy just to have a bit more of a color correcting property. Ooh, okay, this is a higher coverage concealer, I would say, than the other one. Usually I expect the ones in compacts to be higher coverage, but I think this one definitely packs more of a punch. I'll also just put the excess on my eyelid. Ooh, okay, I do like this concealer, I think, at least upon initial impression. This is looking really nice in the under eye area. It has really nice coverage, but as you can see, it's not pooling in my eye creases. On this side, I feel like there's not as much coverage. All right, well, I am excited about that. Let me actually give you guys some swatches as well in case you're curious about shade. So first we have the liquid concealer on top. And then this is kind of the medium shade of the cream concealer, followed by the lighter one, followed by the deeper one. So you can kind of see how when swatched, these are, I mean, all of them actually look quite shiny and emollient, but I'd say the ones in this compact aren't as high coverage as I was expecting. It's like they're providing a bit more moisture rather than coverage, whereas the liquid concealer definitely provides a decent amount of coverage right off the bat. But I will definitely keep playing around with these and let you know. I am struck though, looking at these, how they do have sort of a shimmery property to them. They almost kind of look like highlighters, so I guess that's nice in terms of providing some reflectivity. Okay, so now let's return to this powder. This time I'm gonna go in with my new brushes though. So I'm gonna take just a little bit of this very lightly on this brush and use it to set this under eye area. A little bit on the lid as well. Wow, this brush is so soft. So of course I just unpackaged these, so I haven't actually washed them or anything. They will sort of bloom and look slightly different after the wash, but I just wanted to go ahead and try them out with you guys today. So what I love about these smaller powder brushes is you can really just get into all of the contours of your face. And for me, because my skin is on the drier side, I like to be more careful with my powder application and have a bit more control, which I find that smaller brushes definitely give me. All right, so here we have a little bit of that powder just on the center of my face. I'm going to take the bigger brush now and be a bit more generous just on the outer portions of my face. Ooh, I do like how this brush kind of makes very quick work of just sweeping product all over the face. It's good for doing a light dusting as well. So with the powder, I would say that my face is definitely looking a lot more mattified than it was before. I have to say I do kind of miss the original finish, which was much more glowy, but my face does definitely feel set at least. Again, with the color of this powder, I'm not really sure how I feel about it. The other Kokutan powder I have is their natural lighting powder, which is in a beige shade, and that looks very natural on my skin. This sort of purpley shade, I feel like if I had a foundation that was too yellowy, this would be perfect, but with a foundation that's already pretty neutral, I think it's making me look a little bit gray. But moving right along, let's go into the eyebrow pencil. Like I said, I got this in shade brown. Probably should have gone for more of a gray brown, but this was the only one they had at the duty-free store. I was attracted to this because it has a very small tip and it seems to be quite a dry formula, as you can see. Looks like it can make very nice fine strokes. So let's test it out. Okay, yeah, the color is definitely a bit warmer than I probably should have gone with. Ooh, I do like the formula though. It's that sort of waxy, kind of hard formula that gives you a lot of control. This one does have decent pigmentation though. It's not one where you have to keep on drawing over the same places. Although, interesting, I just realized actually there's no spoolie on this. Okay, I'm back with my Wayne Goss spoolie. That is the first time I've bought an eyebrow pencil that doesn't come with a spoolie. Not the end of the world, but kind of inconvenient. Like I would never take this traveling, given that I would need to have a separate spoolie brush. Overall though, it looks good. Blended out, I feel like it looks less warm than before. Still definitely a bit lighter than my natural hair color, but I think I can make this work. So now in terms of the lip products, let's see. I have these two really beautiful lip products from Hakohodo. So pretty. So I'm gonna first, I think, go in with this lipstick, and let me actually give you swatches of both of them. Wow, look how pretty that is. Really lovely bullet. I love the look of untouched lipstick bullet. And it does have some fine shimmery particles in it. Let me give you guys a swatch. Ooh, wow, okay, this is a perfect shade for the holidays. Look at that. You can also see that shimmery effect. It is still a bit sheer, but I think the pigmentation level is still very nice. And then here is the lip gloss container, also really luxe and beautiful. And this is very, very high pigment, as you can see. Usually I don't go for the red shades, but I think because this entire line is so red focused, I was just very tempted and decided to go in for red for these two. So let me first just go in with the lipstick. I'll probably add the lip gloss later on just to show you guys, but this is gliding on so nicely. Very hydrating and emollient. That's really pretty. I love how actually, because it's slightly sheer, even though this is sort of a bright red with kind of, you know, slightly metallic effect, it doesn't look too in your face because it's not very high pigment. And I actually went over this a couple times. So if you just went over very lightly, I think it would give you that slightly more blotted look. But this feels lovely on the lips, not thick at all. Almost just kind of feels like you have a thin layer of water or oil on your lips, but it feels very, very hydrating. Wow, that is nice and so pretty. I think this is just so lovely for the holidays. So now let's go into the eyeshadow. I am so excited about this. Look how gorgeous this packaging is. And this is the Color Story 17. So here is the gorgeous compact. Isn't this such a lovely color story? You have that beautiful minty green, then you have the rest of the tones that are relatively neutral. What really attracted me to this was swatching these two shades in store. They're just very high shine, very glittery shades, which I find especially for luxury makeup, you often don't get that level of shine and glitter. Like, look how sparkly these are. And then these two are sort of creamy mattes. They're not like your typical dry powder mattes. So very excited for this. Look at that. Isn't that so pretty? Especially these two shades. They catch the light in such a brilliant way. Wow. Okay, so excited to put this on my lids. I think this will be a lovely, subtle, but still very sparkly look. So first off, I'm gonna go into this shade over here and just kind of put this all over my crease area. This is very similar to my natural skin tone. So I feel like this is very much just to kind of prime and smooth the lid area, sort of set it from that concealer earlier. But I love this texture. It is just very creamy. It kind of reminds me of the melting powder formula from Suqqu, the blush formula I'm going to show you guys in a bit. It has that velvety effect where it sort of looks almost like a cream instead of a powder. And let me actually pull you guys in closer for this portion. You can see this is just like a little bit more of an ochre shade in comparison to my natural lid color. And with that same brush, I'm going to go into this deeper shade and use this to just add a bit of depth. Wow, these are such creamy formulas. Ooh. I actually would love to have a palette just with this formula. I feel like especially if you wanted a more muted look, that would be perfect. I mean, you could honestly also just create a very muted look with these two shades if you're going for very much a no makeup look. But look how beautifully these are blending out. So easy. So now let's go into the shiny shade. Let me actually first see how it picks up with a brush. So I'm going in with my GSN 9, placing this onto the lid. Okay, there is definitely some fallout with this shade applied with a brush, but it is very sparkly and gorgeous. You can see there's not much base pigment to this, so I guess that's one downside if you wanted really a green eye. This is not gonna necessarily look that way, but let me see if I go in with a finger, do we get more pigment payoff? Okay, we do get a little bit more. Hopefully going in with a finger doesn't lead this to hard pan though. Wow, I do like that shade. Like I said, it's sort of subtle because it doesn't have that base pigment, but it is so shiny that it definitely compensates with just the level of shine and intensity. And then let's just take some of this as well and kind of put this more on the inner portion. Whew, wow, look at that. That is very high shine. It's just such an interesting juxtaposition of super natural, kind of creamy mattes, very subtle, and then this like very, very high shine, brilliant, sparkling formula. Alrighty, so not much pigmentation, but a lot of shine on the lids. So now for the lower lash line, I'm just going to kind of repeat what I did on top, starting with the lighter matte shade, and then going in with some of the deeper matte. And then I'm actually going to focus more on this lighter shade and just put a little bit of that on the lower lash line, just for a tiny bit of sparkle down there as well. I would say you're not going to pick up a ton of sparkle with this small of a brush, but still really pretty. Alrighty, so there we go. Very unique look. This is not how I'm used to doing my makeup, because usually I would definitely have a shade that has like much stronger pigmentation to give the lid some color, but I do really appreciate the sort of ethereal effect that I'm getting. So now before I go into eyeliner, I did want to also just showcase this blush from Suqqu. Here we have the melting powder blush. So excited about this formula. Let me actually give you guys a quick swatch before I put it on my cheeks. So as you can see, this is such a creamy formula. It does have a little bit of shine to it, so it's not going to be like that flat matte. But that's what I love about this. It sort of gives you that creamy glow that you get from cream blush, but in a powder format. So I'm actually going to just go in with this brush, which is a little bit large, but let's see how it works for this product. Ooh, okay, that's actually maybe a little bit much. Split it across my two cheeks. Okay, I might need a slightly denser brush for this. Let me actually try the other brush. Okay, yeah, I think this is better. So the other blush I have in this line is Sumiro, which is kind of a more orangey shade. So I really like how this one is cooler toned and very pinky. So I have now an option for days when I want a warmer toned look or days when I want a cooler toned look. Alright, so I will say I think the colors of today's look are not quite jiving together. We sort of have this like more cool toned blush, this very like bright red lip, and this sort of greenish eye. But we'll see. I'm going to go off camera, put on some eyeliner, put on some bronzer, and hopefully that helps tie together this whole look. So here we are with the completed look. I think the eyeliner really helped to tie everything together. As a side note, I did really enjoy using this brush for bronzer, so I went in with my Hermes bronzer, and I think this is kind of the perfect shape and size just to give yourself a really nice smattering of bronzer throughout your face. Just very fluid, very wispy. So I do really like this brush for this purpose. I think I like this the best for bronzer and then for all over face powder. Not the best for blush though. So the last product, as I mentioned, is this lip gloss. I'm gonna just add a little bit of this to the center of my lips just so you guys can see it. Ooh, look at that pigmentation. Try to blend this out. My lips were already very hydrated from that lipstick, but this definitely adds another layer. Reminds me a lot of the Everglass from M Cosmetics, which was also one of my best of 2023. Wow, that's really comfy, really pretty. Again, I don't think the red lip necessarily goes the best with this look, but I do like each component individually. So zooming you guys out, let's talk through my initial impressions about each of these products. So first off, I really love this moisture foundation, at least upon first use. I feel like my skin is looking so nice. It really looks like I don't have anything on my face, but my face is just naturally really beautiful and perfected, and I especially love this finish. It looks so healthy and hydrated, but not glowy at all. I was a little worried that it looked kind of dry when I first put the powder on, but I feel like now that everything's on and the products have sort of mingled a bit, it's looking really good. And speaking of that, with the powder, I think this one I'm gonna have to play around a little bit more to give you guys my final verdict. I didn't really like how it looked when I first applied it, especially with that kind of purpley tone to it. But again, now that everything's mixed together, I think it actually looks really nice, and I'm glad that it just slightly mattified and set my skin, but now that glow is sort of peeking out again, and I'm not feeling like things are looking dry at all. In terms of the concealers, at least upon initial impressions, I like this liquid concealer a lot, but I'm not quite sure about this cream concealer. I think the liquid concealer just was gorgeous upon initial application, just blended in seamlessly, no creasing, but very good coverage on this eye. For the cream concealer, I felt like I had to put in additional layers to get the coverage that I wanted, and especially when I was using a brush, I felt like I wasn't quite getting that level of pigmentation. This is, in general, just a much more emollient formula than I was expecting, and so I'm not really sure yet how I feel about this. On the plus side, I don't think I'm getting as much crustiness as I typically get from concealers, so I think the hydrating element is good for that, but I'll definitely have to play around with this one a bit more. For the eyeshadow palette, this is very different from what I'm used to. So I think the jury's still kind of out. Basically, this looks a lot like if you put on two creamy matte shades and then you put on some of Pat McGrath's Astral shades. Like the two shimmer shades look a lot like the Astral toppers from Pat McGrath. So on the one hand, that's exciting to me because I absolutely love that formula. I love the sparkle and glimmer that it gives. On the other hand, as you can tell, there's just not much color to this look, which is just a little weird to me. Like everything's very translucent and fairy-like. So I'm not quite sure if I'll end up using this palette as much, / I wonder if I'll end up sort of dipping into other palettes to complement it. But I really like these formulas individually. I think the one question is whether I would put these four together for an entire look. In terms of the Suqqu blush, still very much in love with this. I really enjoy the finish that it leaves to the skin. I have no highlighter on, but you can see just how my cheeks look really lovely and glowy. Again, it kind of gives you that cream effect even though it's a powder. Really sad that this has been discontinued. I am considering possibly buying more shades online because there are a few retailers that still have a few shades in stock. So if you are interested in this formula, I would also highly recommend picking those up ASAP. In terms of the lip products, really great first impressions. They both are extremely comfortable and hydrating on the skin. This one I think is especially unique, the lipstick, just in terms of the shimmery but very sheer formulation. I think it has a really nice kind of ethereal effect to it. This one is very similar to my M Cosmetics Everglass, but that's not necessarily a critique because that's one of my favorite formulas overall in my collection. Just that, you know, they kind of fit the same niche, so I'll have to see how much I use one versus the other. Oh, and then before I forget, the eyebrow pencil. This is probably the one I was least jazzed about in this haul, mainly because it doesn't have a spoolie. I think it's a perfectly fine eyebrow pencil, and I do enjoy the formula, but between the fact that it's a little bit reddish in terms of tone, and then also it doesn't have a spoolie, I'm not really sure how much use I'm gonna get out of this. But on the whole, I am very pleased with this haul. Almost all of these products really hit it out of the park in terms of first impressions. If you are interested in learning more about any of these products and seeing follow-on reviews, definitely let me know, and also subscribe so you can be notified when future videos come out. I am definitely really excited to continue playing around with these products. I overall really enjoy the look that I got today, even though the colors weren't selected necessarily to all jive. And before we close out this video, I also just wanted to mention this jacket that I got. So this is a long denim jacket that I got from a Japanese flea market, and I'm absolutely in love with this as well. Like, look how cool this is. It's basically a patchwork. It has a lot of different kind of indigo dyed denim components to it. and it's really thick and warm and perfect for the winter season and looks really chic as well. So I would highly recommend, if you are in Japan, to also just kind of check out flea markets and other places, because there's just so many interesting things that you can buy in Japan. It's by far my favorite place to shop because it's not just all of these big box stores where you can get the same things in every place. Instead, there's a lot of really unique shopping opportunities, both in the makeup category and outside. So personally, I can't wait until the next time I get a chance to go to Japan and haul some more items. So that's it for today's video. If you guys like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you all so much for joining me today, and I'll catch you next time. Bye!